Hello and welcome to Not Just Disney. It is Saturday the 2nd of May 2020 and this is episode 16 in our series of videos in which we will be completing the FA Premier League using Logacta, the 1970s football simulation game played using dice. In episode 15, Man City's away win at Stamford Bridge assured them of the runners-up position for this season. But all of the remaining European qualification positions are still up for grabs. And at the bottom of the table, everything is still to play for. Aston Villa managed their first victory for some time to move on to 29 points, closing the gap on Brighton in 17th to just 3 points. And Watford and Bournemouth, they're not out of the battle either. Let's take a look at the fixtures for today. As far as European qualification is concerned, matches to look out for will be at Chelsea, Crystal Palace, and of course at Leicester City, where they take on Sheffield United, who still have a chance of European football. For relegation, there's a real six-pointer, West Ham United at home to Watford, and other strugglers are away, so we've got Brighton, Bournemouth, Aston Villa and Norwich, all away teams today. In case you hadn't realised, the colours on the screen indicate the die that will be rolled for each team, and the numbers show you the points difference in the Logacta League between the two clubs. So without further ado, let's leave the studio and get out around the country for today's 10 Premier League matches. Stand by for takeoff. There we go, we're in the air. So we have 10 matches to bring you today, starting in London at Arsenal. They take on champions-elect Liverpool. Liverpool have a 24-point advantage. They'll be rolling green and yellow as a form team. Arsenal just have the yellow die, but just remember what Crystal Palace managed the last match at Anfield, coming out 1-0 winners, and the first team to beat Liverpool in the Logacta part of the season, and only the second team to beat them in the Premier League during the whole season. So Arsenal obviously need to get some sort of score here. And it's a 1. That was good enough for Crystal Palace. Liverpool will be rolling green. This could go one of two ways, I feel. Oh, it's gone the wrong way for Arsenal. Liverpool back on form with 5 goals and still have the form die. So we know which Liverpool turned out today. And the die, there we are, it's a 0. So, 5 goals for Liverpool and a great away win. They still have a chance of reaching that record league points total. Burnley now take on Wolverhampton. Wolves have a 8-point advantage. They will be rolling blue. Burnley rolling red first of all, of course. 2 for Burnley. Remember, they had some terrible form when they were actually a formed team. So 2 for Burnley. Wolverhampton Wanderers looking for European football, maybe. 4. Will that be enough to get them back into the action? Possibly, but possibly they've let it slip too far. So a good away win for Wolves, but possibly coming a little bit too late. Chelsea very much have a chance of European football. They have a 19-point advantage over Norwich, who need something to get themselves out of that relegation zone. Chelsea rolling green and yellow, Norwich just yellow. 2 for Chelsea. Let's get the form die. So that's 2 plus 0. So just 2 goals for Chelsea. Norwich rolling that yellow die. 1. Bad result for Norwich. Depends how the other results go, of course, but not what they would have been looking for. But a good victory for Chelsea should secure them some European football. Crystal Palace take on Manchester United. Man United have a 5-point advantage, and as the way team they'll be rolling a black die, as will Crystal Palace. So very much even Stevens here. 3 for Crystal Palace. That victory over Liverpool obviously inspired them somewhat. 2 for Man United. So Crystal Palace have beaten Manchester United and Liverpool in consecutive games, and that is a bit of a dent for Man United's European football hopes. So mid-table Everton will be rolling green with their 14-point advantage over strugglers Aston Villa. Everton, nothing much to play for, but that can often produce some fantastic uninhibited performances. But not today. Nil. So Aston Villa have got at least a draw. They will pull level with Norwich. And in fact they've got 2. They've got a win, so they will climb over Norwich. So that is interesting news at the foot of the table. So we're going now from a victory for a struggling team to 2 teams looking for European football. It's Leicester City hosting Sheffield United. Leicester have a 2-point advantage. That means they get the blue die against Sheffield United's red, but Sheffield are in form, of course. So that's 4 for Leicester. That looks fairly emphatic, but remember, Sheffield do have the 2 die. So that's a 1, 4-1 currently. And just another one, a 4-2 win for Leicester City. Not what Sheffield would have wanted. We're in Manchester. City take on Bournemouth. Man City, certain of runners-up position, have a 26-point advantage. They will be rolling green and yellow as a form team. Bournemouth, struggling, needs something from this. They will just be rolling yellow. 4 for Man City, looking bad for Bournemouth. And the form die. 1, so that's 5 for Man City. There's not much Bournemouth can do about that. They do get a consolation goal though. So Newcastle, they're just on the cusp of relegation issues maybe. They have a grey die because they're playing at home to Tottenham, who have a 10 points advantage. And we'll be rolling blue, so it's grey for Newcastle United. That's 2, good score for them. Tottenham rolling blue. 4, good away win for Spurs. On to the south coast now. Southampton could get dragged into relegation issues, playing Brighton, who would definitely have relegation issues, just 1 place outside those fated 3 bottom positions. Southampton have a 1-point advantage. They will be rolling blue against Brighton's red die. That's 1 for Southampton, so Brighton do have a chance. They have conceded a lot of goals recently, Brighton. Just 1 today though. And they get a draw, 1-1. Better than a loss, better form than recently, so we'll have a look in a moment and see how that has affected the table. But we come to a real 6-pointer now. West Ham United at home to Watford. Watford have a 3-point advantage, so they will be rolling red. West Ham rolling blue. Both teams simply want to win. West Ham 0. Watford 3. Fantastic result for Watford. Looking bad for West Ham, but we won't know for sure until we've taken a look at the league table. So let's get back to the studio and do that. Before we do look at the league table, I'd just like to remind everyone that we do roll the dice for each set of matches in one continuous shot. We don't stop and retake, edit, delete, change anything around. So the rolls you see are the authentic first rolls for each of the matches to be played. And I don't know if you spotted it, but in the victory, 3-2 victory for Crystal Palace over Man United, we actually neglected to roll the form die for United, which could affect the result. So we're going to pop back out to the wobbly camera and roll that form die for Man United. So quite extraordinary scenes here. Many fans have actually left the ground. Crystal Palace were celebrating a 3-2 victory, but we're all now back out on the pitch for this yellow form die roll for Man United. Remember, the final score, what we thought was the final score, was 3-2 to Crystal Palace. Let's roll this die and see if Man United can get a draw or even a victory. It's a 0. So Crystal Palace do maintain their 3-2 victory. Obviously fans of United will say that quite substantial break in play will have affected their players, but we've rolled the die and it has come up nil. So the 3-2 victory remains with Crystal Palace. Now let's see if we can look at the league tables. Liverpool can still reach a record league points total. They have a target of 104 available to them. Leicester City will need just a draw in either of their final 2 matches if Chelsea do not win both of their final 2 games. It could go down to goal difference between Man United and Sheffield United, and just below them we have Spurs on 55 points, and then 3 teams on 53, Arsenal, Wolves and Crystal Palace, who have won their last 4 matches. And at the foot of the table it's all to play for. Watford have climbed ahead of Bournemouth. Aston Villa have gone from bottom to 18th, now just 1 point short of Brighton in safety in 17th. So it is all still to play for in our final 2 rounds of matches. Let's just take a look at next week's fixtures. There'll be a full 10 matches next Saturday. The teams in red looking to fight off relegation, the teams in blue, possibility of European football, and Liverpool of course going for that record league points total. So there's not a dead rubber amongst the 10 games we'll be bringing you next week. So we hope you enjoyed episode 16, and we'll come back to see the penultimate episode in this series next Saturday. And all that remains for me to say is thanks for watching, and we look forward to you seeing us again soon here on Not Just Disney. Bye for now.